Alright. Hello. Alright, so I feel like when it comes to Valentine's Day, if you're anything but lovey-dovey, or even just like indifferent to it, you're considered anti-Valentine's Day, so let's go with that. I'm starting off with making a cake.
Okay, let's rock this bitch.
She's cute, but she's not completely in the spirit of the lovey-dovey Valentine's Day, therefore, here we go. I started with a couple of these layered floral foam pieces. Mapped out what I wanted the shape to be with a marker. I did change this up a few times, so feel free because it's still has plastic on it. Then I cut them to size and shape. Alright. I used one as a reference for the other. And finally cut out the small, almost triangle to act as a slice out of it. But I knew I would be adding texture to this later on, so I took a bit of the width off of the smaller piece. For starters, I had picked up what I thought was drywall compound or spackle, but I found out very quickly that wall texture is not the same, but it is cheaper, which is why I had grabbed it. It is also a lot more fluid. Oh my god.
Why is that? Oh my god. This is turning into a really bad time.
I tried to make do with the mix of spackle and the wall texture and some acrylic paint, but it wasn't giving me the look that I wanted, and it made it fairly heavy, which was definitely not what I wanted either. So I went for another route, which was puffy air dry clay. I just made that into an organic shape. Use the current heart-shaped floral to cut out the clay, basically use it as a stencil.
That went so well.
While being sure to use water to smooth and blend down the edges and down onto itself, if that makes sense. And then made some snakes of clay to shape around it to give it more volume without adding too much more weight to it. Although puffy air dry clay is fairly weightless, it still has some semblance of weight to it.
Ack.
Long story, but I did end up having to add some extra height to the cutoff piece. And I spray primed those. Then to add the frosting texture and simultaneously the quote-unquote glue for the cake texture to stick to, I went in with a very lightweight spackle. I didn't have this to begin with, which is why I'm using it now, which is honestly going viral all over the internet that I've seen in a bunch of DIYs. If you haven't seen it, you can grab this off of Amazon. I don't know where else you can get it, but I know you can get it off of Amazon because that's where I got it. It's white, so you can add your own colorant to it, and it does have the consistency of icing, so it's perfect for adding onto faux food decor and items, even that you want to hang up, because again, lightweight. I added pink acrylic paint into this mix and began spreading it on. In retrospect, I should have just been adding it into one solid layer rather than adding it to the top and the bottom, as the only part where the clay portion matters to be seen is in the cutout area. I walk so you could run. You're welcome. To put 2 and 2 together, aka the 2 halves of the cake, I used some more of that lightweight spackle in between, though again, just using the spackle in between would work just as well. I placed the same light pink lightweight spackle inside the cut. Finally, for the actual inner cake texture, I busted up a sponge like to do your dishes or clean or to just wash your car into fairly small pieces. And I mixed that in with a darker pink acrylic paint that I've been using so far. I did put them in a blender. Make sure if you were doing this that you were using a blender you wouldn't for food, or just be aware that, hey, I might end up eating some leftover remnants of sponge or acrylic paint. Both aren't supposed to be consumed, but not speaking from personal experience or anything, I've just definitely only heard that they aren't going to kill you if consumed. To each their own, though. Anyways, I digress. And then on the top and bottom portions around the clay piece, I placed a sponge. Firstly with my fingers, and then I press it down with a wooden tool, as my fingers do not go into such a small area, which sounds weird now that I've said it out loud. Happy Valentine's Day, I guess. I did this to both sides, obviously, and then to the smaller, already cut off piece. From then on, this is what makes it more fitting to Valentine's Day, or Anti-Valentine's Day, I suppose. And that is that I am taking more of that air dry clay and spelling out some words. Specifically, dump him. Moving it around as I see fit and allowing them to dry and placing them on with some E6000. I'm taking more lightweight spackle and adding red acrylic paint to it this time and mixing it up. Adding it into a silicone piping bag to do just that.
Oh, that was nasty. You little nasty. Ugh. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh my god. Oh no.
It is all over. I also used a plain white for this, no color added, and just used different tips for each of these. Finally, while that was still wet, I added on these handmade cherries that I made out of polymer clay and wire. They were probably the heaviest part, and it shows.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay.
I also decorated around the base with what I had left over from the top. But added some pearls with an adhesive backing. And glitter on it as well as it was drying down. Now, you might be wondering, Sarah, how are you going to make the cut-off piece stick to the rest of the cake? Obviously, because you cut it off. And to that, I am saying that I am mixing up some acrylic paint in with some resin, which, yes, does change the consistency, but it was fine. Placing it where the slice had been cut off, and then placing the piece in the middle of the puddle of resin. Shaping it around the piece almost like a heart, if you didn't catch that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I picked this plate up from the dollar store, and I'm going to be using some more of that E6000 to simply glue it onto that plate. It also helped out that the resin wasn't fully dried down. It was still a little bit tacky on the bottom, so that definitely helped to enable a little bit more of a stick. Next up on the docket, though, we've got a conversational heart for decor, but make it sassy.
Okay, let's rock this bitch.
I started out by shaping the heart with tin foil, as it is once again lightweight and easy to manipulate. That rhymed. I made a basic, not actually a heart looking shape, and then added filler onto it to bulk it up. To flatten it down a bit and get to know the shape better, I did tape it up. You definitely don't need to do this next step, as I meant for it to be more of a shell that I could detach later on and make multiples of this, but it didn't end up working out that way. I digress. I did paper mache it though.
Oh no. I guess that makes sense. If I didn't allow for it to dry, why would it dry?
Then for a smooth consistency of it, so I can also texturize the portion that will have the saying on it, I am just going to be rolling out a flat piece of air dry clay. Color does not matter in this instance because we're going to be painting it anyways. Placing the heart shape out and adding the clay over top, being sure to cup all around it with my hands to better shape it, even if it's a super awkward way to do it. My clay piece was not big enough to cover the entire heart, so I added pieces where they were lacking. I even rolled the sides to ensure that the piece was smooth. And then I added one more big piece over top and used some water once again to blend the edges as well as smooth the entire piece. Before coming in with my clay tool and planning out exactly where I wanted these letters to go. I did want block letters, I knew that because it was very fitting to actual conversational art. I planned out all the letters, which I assure you is no cursing on this conversation art, though it may seem like there is. But anyways, I planned out the letters while this was completely wet, and as it dried, I added more water and continued with the X-Acto knife to cut out each letter as well. I used a clay tool alongside my fingers to smooth any and all edges and surfaces. In retrospect, once again, I wish I hadn't have gone so deep with them, which sounds awkward, but I lived it so you can learn. Once I've got it all cut out to my liking, I'm allowing it to fully dry down and then coming in with a few coats of a white paint as a primer. Once all of those were dried down as well, I'm going to use a base coat of a bubblegum pink, which just decided that it wouldn't save the first half of what I recorded. So just picture this white but pink. And here we are. Half of this video is literally just waiting for paint to dry, and I recognize that. Anyways, the next step was adding in the letters, which I only wanted to be a variation of the original candy color. So I mixed some of that bubblegum pink and a red together. And filled in each letter, keeping the original color within a reaching distance to cover any mistakes as soon as possible. I did add this new tone a few times to build it up to the letters, and if you did want this to have a shine to it, you could definitely give it a coat or two of a clear coat, but I'm good with it for now. Then it was time for the hang job. I do rent, so I'm not wanting to make any holes in my wall unnecessarily. I'm going to be using my tried and true command strips. That was anti-climatic. Climato? Anticlimactic. This is very lightweight, but I always want to use more than I think I will need. My first idea was to actually hang this above my fireplace.
Do we think it'll stay?
Which quickly turned into me wanting to hang it beside a photo I already had on the wall instead. I probably will end up making another one of these and putting it on the other side, which I think will be super cute, but anyways, I digress. There you have it, folks. Happy Anti-Valentine's Day.